Living in Grace, 6 Bible verses that explain God's grace. Let's talk about what God's grace means. Grace is when God gives us His love and help, even when we don't deserve it. These 6 Bible verses help us understand what grace is all about and how it works in our lives. 1. Ephesians 2:8-9. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves. It is the gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. Meaning of this verse. This verse teaches us that God saves us because He loves us, not because we do anything special to earn it. It's like receiving a present just because someone cares about you, not because you worked for it. God's grace is a free gift. We don't have to do anything to deserve it. We just have to believe in Him and accept His love. 2 Corinthians 12:9. But He said to me, "My grace is sufficient for you, for my power is made perfect in weakness. Therefore I will boast all the more gladly about my weaknesses, so that Christ's power may rest on me." Meaning of this verse. God's grace is enough for us, even when we feel weak or not strong enough. In fact, when we feel the weakest, that's when God's power shows up the most. We don't always have to be strong, because God's grace helps us when we can't do it on our own. So it's okay to need help, because God is always there to lift us up. 3. Titus 2:11. For the grace of God has appeared that offers salvation to all people. Meaning of this verse. Part, God's grace is for everyone. No one is left out, and it doesn't matter who you are. God's love and grace are a gift for all people. This verse means that everyone can be saved and come to know God because His grace is offered to everyone who believes in Him. 4. Romans 6:14. For sin shall no longer be your master, because you are not under the law, but under grace. Meaning of this verse. Before we know God, sin can feel like it's controlling us, like we're stuck doing wrong things. But because of God's grace, we don't have to be controlled by sin anymore. It's like God set us free from a trap. Now, instead of being trapped by sin, we can live in a way that makes God happy, because His grace frees us. 5. John 1:16. Out of His fullness, we have all received grace in place of grace already given. Meaning of this verse. God's grace never runs out. It's like getting a never-ending supply of gifts. Every time we need it, God gives us more grace to help us live the way He wants. He keeps giving us grace over and over again, showing us His love all the time. 6. Hebrews 4:16. Let us then approach God's throne of grace with confidence so that we may receive mercy and find grace to help us in our time of need. Meaning of this verse. This verse means we can go to God anytime we need help. He's kind and loving, and He always wants to help us. When we need His grace, we can ask Him for it without being scared. We can be confident because God cares about us and will always give us His grace when we need it most. So, in each of these verses, we learn that God's grace is a free gift. It's something He gives us because He loves us, and it's always there to help us, whether we're feeling strong or weak. We don't have to earn it. It's always available, and we can trust that God will give us what we need when we need it.